Yo, what up? How's it going? And welcome back for another video. We got a spicy one coming in here. We got some new drama, or I guess it's not drama, but it's the RamKev, the Kevin Ramen Twitlonger. Long-awaited Twitlonger about competitive TFT. Already starts out spicy there. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I've glanced over it a little bit. I know what he's going to be talking about, but I haven't read through the whole thing. So we're going to read through it together, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and reaction. And I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments, stuff like that. So that out of the way, let's get into it. Okay, here we are. And if you're not caught up on the lore with RamKev and with competitive TFT, I'll catch you up a little bit. So if you guys don't follow competitive TFT, I wouldn't blame you because it is not very well promoted. I don't think that's really what we're talking about here, but it's not very well promoted. And the tournaments are garbage. They're trash. I'm going to share a lot of opinions here. Every single player who plays in it thinks the tournaments are trash. Every single one of them. I've played in a few Riot tournaments myself. I played in several TFT tournaments, but I played in a few of these Riot sponsored tournaments. And one of the ones he's talking about, I have played in it and had a similar experience as RamKev. It's trash. The reason why it's trash is because there's so few amount of games. It doesn't like no one goes away from those tournaments feeling like the best player won or the players who lost in the first day actually aren't good. Like it is so dumb. It is so dumb. So let's just get into it. Let's just get into it. I think I'm going to agree a lot with him. So that's competitive TFT. I caught you up. It's trash. Competitive TFT is trash, and we're trying to fix it. All right, let's get into it. I want to preface this by stating that this is not a criticism of the game of TFT itself. I love TFT contrary to many big names in the community. I think 6.5 has been great set, and I have nothing but respect and appreciation for what the TFT dev team has managed to accomplish. I am only discussing and criticizing the current landscape of TFT tournaments. Agree. I think the devs did a great job with 6.5 despite all the issues it has. I think overall pretty great job actually. Even if you don't like it, I think it's pretty well designed and all the good stuff. Okay, bad launch though. All right, I owe a lot to the TFT tournament scene. I would not be where I was today if it were not for TFT tournaments, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. However, because of this, I am also incredibly invested in growth and improvement of the competitive scene. In that regard, I really have had nothing to be excited about because there has been essentially zero growth and improvement in terms of competitive format for the past two sets. Yeah, agree. Everything here, everything I agree. There really hasn't been any growth. I played in a tournament in set 4. Feels very similar to the Zon Cup I played just now. I played in a Riot tournament in set 4. Felt very similar to the one I just played in. So yeah, agree here. And yeah, RamKev does owe a lot to the tournament scene. His entire brand has been built off of being a tournament player, and that's really what started his content creation journey. So yeah, so great that he acknowledges that that tournaments have been a good thing. I think that's great for his argument for whenever tournament organizers and stuff like that are reading us. I think that's great for his argument to admit that, just for the strengthening his argument. Anyways, cool. Initial outlook. When I first heard that Set 6 was going to have a larger focus on tournaments for the new competitive format, I was actually really excited. I was still at a point where I thought that tournaments were a better indicator of skill than ladder was. I realize now that this initial opinion that I had was based solely on the fact that in tournament, you are against higher caliber players. This has nothing to do with how the tournaments are set up and everything to do with the players. Sorry, I've been sick, guys. Sorry. That are willing to participate in these events. What I have come to conclude is that the tournament formats themselves do nothing to promote or to demonstrate the skill level of these players, and in many cases are detrimental to this goal. Hard agree. He's going to get into the details here, and he's just laying out the preface here, guys. Hard agree. The tournaments are such a joke. They're such a joke, man. Wow, they are a joke. and he's going to tell you why right here when I'm gonna chime in. So sample size and variance from a player's perspective, the main Riot affiliated tournaments as they are currently set up feel as if those who decided on the format have never played TFT competitively a day in their life. I know he's being a little hyperbolic, but this is how it feels. This is legit how it feels. Like I realize I have to make a consumer product, but the consumer, like I understand that, and I think Ram gets that as well. That's why they choose 3 games, but it is just not it is just not TFT. Like TFT can't be played over 3 games. It just can't. Like it just can't. There's too much variance in the game. Like And the variance is great, but since there's that much variance, you can't play 3 games and decide a winner from that. It's crazy. All right, the key to representing skill is to reduce variance. In order to do that, you have to increase sample size. Yep, that's the best way to do it. I am going to talk extensively here about my experience in Zon Cup. All right, for those that are not aware, I bombed out on day 1 in Zon Cup. However, it was the nature in which I didn't make day 2 that left an incredibly poor impression on me. The first day of Zon Cup was set up in a 6-game format where half of the field was cut in the first 3 games. Scores were fully reset after the first group I played in this tournament. So you played 3 games and then scores were reset. And then the next half moved on according to their scores from the previous 3 games and are now going to play the next 3 games. In other words, your advancement for a main Riot-sponsored tournament was decided on the results of 3 entire games. So I may have read that kind of weird. Essentially what happened is you played 3 games and then you moved on to the next round and then your scores were deleted and they no longer count anymore. And then you played 3 more games to decide if you go to day 2. That is what happened. And let's talk about RamKev's experience here. And I'll tell you guys mine because I had an extremely similar experience. If I had played poorly, that would be one thing. But I had the highest average scores in the entire tournament. This is true, by the way. This is all true, by the way, guys. I went out on a score line of 2, 1, 3, 4, 4, 5. Those were RamKev's scores, and he didn't qualify. It's actually laughable that the format actually managed to find a way to make that a scoreline that was not able to make the second day of competition. Not only that, but it made my ability to qualify for regional finals much worse. Guys, his scores were 2, 1, 3, 4, 4, 5. You want to know what my scores were? My scores were 1, 1. My scores were this: 1, 1, 3, 8. I had an 8th. And then it was wait. Yeah, it was 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 8, and I had a 2nd and a 5th. And I actually, in my second lobby, since I ate that 8th, in my second lobby, I actually averaged I actually got 5th place in that lobby. But had we have combined my scores, I had a first, and a 3rd in the first lobby. Then I would 100% went through. So I had a very similar experience to RamKev, but I did have an 8th, so I guess I can eat that one. But yeah, like, it's a joke that RamKev didn't go on. It's a joke that I didn't go on. Let me be clear. I had fun in that tournament because I was just happy to play, honestly, because I didn't even plan on playing in it, and I was happy to qualify. But as soon as the dopamine wore off, as soon as everything wore off, I was like, what was that shit? Like, what was that? Like, how did I not qualify for day 2 with getting 2 first place, starting out the tournament with 2 first place and a 3rd? How do I not possibly make it? And I get 2 bot 4s, and one of them's a 5th. To be fair, one of them's an 8th, but one of them's a 5th. So that's an average of like 6.5 or whatever, or 7th. Which is not bad for my bot 4 score. And then my top 4 score is like an average of like 1.5 or 2. So that's kind of ridiculous. That's crazy. And yeah, this was trash. This was such trash. I agree. Obviously, I was incredibly upset afterwards. I deleted all my VODs. I didn't want to think about the game, and I just stopped caring. I had played some of the best TFT I had ever played in that first day for it to just completely mean nothing. I had a similar experience, but, you know, we are different people. I actually just enjoyed playing in a tournament. I was upset about this, but I felt the same way. No one would care if I didn't move on. Then obviously I was not a good enough player. After all, this is the premier TFT tournament system we're talking about. A premier TFT tournament system that I remind you, has managed to plop the starting date of 3 major tournaments at the start of a new patch. Yeah, what is this about? Which does nothing to help with decreasing variance. Yeah, what is that about? Why are the tournaments always on patch week? Why are they always on like, who schedules this stuff? I know it has to be like, I know it's tough to schedule this stuff. I realize it, but like, why are they always on patch weeks? Why? Why are they not on the second week? Why? The game is so much more figured out, and you can B-patch on the second week if there's something broken. And B-patchers are always better than the base patch if they have to do a B-patch. So it'd be better to play on a B-patch. It'd be better to be less practice on a B-patch than a main patch, because B-patches are there to address obvious issues in the main patch. And so we always play these tournaments on Friday, and the game changes on Wednesday. You don't even have time to find out what's broken sometimes. Sometimes the meta is figured out on Friday or on Saturday. In the middle of the tournament, everyone finds out what's broken, and sometimes it is something that is broken, like should not be allowed to be played in tournament play. Just think about other esports like League, they don't play on a patch unless they've already had 2 weeks of practice on it. Now, I'm not suggesting that's what we should do in TFT. I would hate that. I would hate if we wanted to play on tournament play, we had to play on the previous patch. That would suck. Everyone would hate that. But just to point that out, like in League, if they have to play on a patch that is less than 2 weeks old, they have to ask all the teams and get permission. Like, that's what they do because it's so important. But in TFT, we literally play 2 days after patch day, and sometimes we play on Thursdays. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Oh wait, no, not Thursday. I think Zon Cup, it was a holiday. Yeah, it was a holiday. So we had to, I think it was Zon Cup, because I thought it was hilarious that I had 1 day to practice. We had a holiday, so the patch was on Thursday, and then we had to play on Friday. I believe that was for Zon Cup, and I thought it was hilarious that I was in my house cleaning dishes when I could be practicing for Zon Cup, because I just literally couldn't practice. Anyways, why is that? That's crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy. Did I skip anything? Oh yeah, new patch. Yeah, there we go. Which has nothing to decrease variance. I'm not saying that I have a clear solution for this problem. Obviously, more games requires more monetary investment, and it's very easy for me to ask for more games because I could not give a flying fuck about the money that I get from tournaments. True, agreed. I hard agree. Who cares about the money? You get amazing exposure. We're playing to see who's the best. Like I know people say like, you're getting paid at exposure, and that's like a way for people to scam you, right? I understand that. But the amount of players and the amount of people in TFT and players who have already built like a career basically online just from playing these tournaments, like RamKev, Goobums, Nubal, there's countless examples that people who made their career off of tournaments and are now doing very well monetarily, you know, or if they're not, or like if they're still doing it part-time, they could be doing better monetarily if they, you know, took content creation a little bit more seriously. A lot of them do this part-time. So undoubtedly has an amazing effect. And again, I would compete in it for free if there was no exposure, like, because I love playing TFT and I want to see who's the best. Like, isn't that why people compete? Like, I get people have different motivations, but this is something that I think is always so disconnected from reality. Whenever the big names like Soju, Q, and Milk always complain about prize pool, like, I think a lot of people roll their eyes on that, and I understand. I completely understand from their position about the money thing. I completely understand it, but I think it's so disconnected from reality of like that money is never going to be there. That would make you happy and stuff like that. That money's never going to be there, and for me and for a lot of people, it's just the thrill of competition. Like, but the thing is that RamKev's complaining about here is, and what I'm complaining about as well is, can we just have a real competition? Anyways, all right. So I just want to get it out of the way. I agree with RamKev on the money thing. However, this 3 to 6 game in a single day garbage to even attempt to accurately represent the skill of the players, it's just not it. Agree, hard agree. Three games is a joke, and 6 games is okay. Like 6 games is okay. Like legit, we need to play 10 games, but I don't know if that's ever going to be a viewable experience. Maybe we'll play a few games off stream. Like I don't know, but like we can't be playing 3 games, and like we can't be playing 6 games. Honestly, we certainly can't be playing 3 games. We really need to be playing like 8 or 10. But I understand how viewer experience sucks for that. Comparing excuses about why we are still stuck with the same guards 3 to 6 format over. Let me list a few of them. Okay, RamKev's gonna hit him up. All right, we can go into detail on why none of them are valid. Okay, hit me with it. If the tourney format was so bad, why didn't anybody complain about it beforehand? First of all, just because nobody says anything about it, it doesn't make it fine. Yeah, I agree. If you think that a 3-game sample size is acceptable, then you are just bad at math, straight and simple. Hard agree, man. The moment that I saw that there were 3 games, I knew something was wrong. There's no way other players didn't know it was wrong either. Dude, like just reading this is just like every player who plays in this tournament, agrees with this thing. Like I would be shocked if a single player said 3 games were good. Anyways, there were plenty of people on Twitter saying how 3-game sample size is just a coin flip. Furthermore, the players shouldn't have to point out these things. Some of these problems should be apparent at the get-go. Why the hell does Setsuko have to consider throwing a game because he's playing in an event that qualifies 2 players that uses a garbage checkmate format that only works for determining a first place winner? Okay, if you guys don't know about the checkmate format, it is trash. It is garbage. It's Riot's attempt to make a decisive victor, or Riot or Giants or whoever, or Wisdom. it's their attempt to make a more decisive winner for a better viewing experience. But so let me explain the checkmate format. Basically, you hit a point threshold. Like, let's say the points are 17. Once you reach 17 points, you can win the lobby now. You are now able to win the championship. And by the way, they've used this at Worlds. Maybe every Worlds. I don't know, but they use it at Set 4 Worlds, I believe. One of the Worlds I watched, they used it at Worlds. So once you meet this threshold, if that player first places, then then they win the whole tournament. It's over. The whole shebang's over. And so what happens is only one, like when one player meets that threshold, the rest of the lobby just griefs that player, obviously, because you need the game to keep going for you to win. And it gets to a point where almost every single player is in the threshold, or at least half the lobby's in the threshold. And what happens is just whoever high rolls, whoever plays mercs, whoever high rolls augments, whoever does whatever, wins the tournament. That's it. That's checkmate format. Can you believe that that's a format? Anyways, all right. How the hell was Spencer supposed to know that that he'd have to play in a garbage day 1 play-in tournament because of how he placed in regionals, regional finals and set 5? Now I know about this, but I don't know about like the exact specifics. But essentially, Spencer needed to throw a game in order to change the placement of other people in the lobby and himself. He needed to throw the game in order to change placements for other people, and that would make him qualify for regionals. But he didn't qualify for regionals, regional finals, because he didn't throw that game. So like, imagine a format that the format exists that's something that you're supposed to do. And I do remember watching this live, and I remember everyone like freaking out and was like, no, he has to do this, but he doesn't know. Like, oh man. I remember watching this. I think I was watching Soju co-stream. But yeah, I can't remember exactly the details, but essentially that's what happened because of the checkmate format. Anyways, additionally, how the hell are we even supposed to give feedback? People know that the current system is incredibly flawed. Why have players never been approached by any tournament organizers on how to improve the current format? Maybe they have. Maybe me and RamKev don't know. Maybe they have, but yeah, I don't know anything about them reaching out and asking how we can improve it. Why isn't there some kind of standardized way for players to give feedback after every tournament? Hey, that is true. Why don't we get like a Discord bot after it or something, like a survey from Wisdom or an email? That could be good. Our contact information is required for these events, so why not use them? Don't give me any bullshit about getting feedback from Lobby 2 or Reddit or any other Discord server. Okay, go off, King. Make it open and accessible. These are official events, for Pete's sake. This should be professional. Yeah, I don't have access to Lobby 2. I don't use Reddit, and I don't have any clout on Discord. So I have no way of giving feedback. And I've played in multiple Riot tournaments, and I've played in several Giant Slayer tournaments and stuff like that. The people who do organize the Riot tournaments as well. So yeah, I have no way of giving feedback to anybody, and I've played in several tournaments. So yeah, hard agree. I don't have access to Lobby 2. Hard agree. We can't do anything without Riot approval. Fuck Riot. You want me to elaborate? Wait until we get the Tournament Realm section, where I thoroughly chew Daddy Riot Games out. Okay, all right. Hit me with it. I don't really have a strong opinion on that. If we had more games, people would just AFK if they were guaranteed out. Sorry, guys. Been sick. This one's a real fucking kicker right here. You know, I actually bought into this one for a little bit. Then Innovation Cup came around and I realized that this isn't actually a concern. This is damage control. You know how I know this? Because in Innovation Cup, we make our grand return to a format where people actually just ended up AFKing because the results were guaranteed by Game 5. I can't tell you how crazy it felt to be going into the last game on day 1, guaranteed to advance, while Sun Astro AFKs because he's guaranteed out. Where I'm just thinking to myself, wait a fucking second. You're telling me that they knew there was a problem, came up with a band-aid solution, and then went back to having the same format that made this problem in the first place? How? Why? I just cannot understand the reasoning behind this. So he's saying, yeah, Sun Astro AFK'd, and then Setsuko had to leave for an emergency. So there were 2 players AFK in the tournament. This happened, but Setsuko's was a medical emergency. And Sun Astro AFK'd because he was guaranteed out, and guaranteed out by Game 5. So what he's saying is that this is a problem anyways, and it's even more apparent in a smaller sample size because since you're playing so few games, you're guaranteed out so much earlier. So if you played 10 games, like let's say you played 10 games, you wouldn't know if you're out until the 8th or 9th game. So it'd be exactly the same. It'd be almost exactly the same. Because unless you went eighth, unless you're just going eighth every game, you're not out until like the 8th game. Most likely. I mean, you'd have to be playing really bad. And if you're playing that bad, you might as well be a bot. So even if you do AFK, like if you're playing that bad that you do AFK, or you're playing that bad that you don't have a chance after the 5th game, then they might as well just fill your spot. Like it doesn't even matter. So yeah, hard to agree. This isn't actually a problem because it happens in our current format. The same thing happens. And the same thing would happen if we played 10 games. So it actually makes no difference if we play 10 games. Yeah, it actually makes no difference. Cool. I agree, but like I do recognize that Riot and Giant Slayer and all them like this is a problem. People AFK if they know they're out, but it's actually makes no difference if you increase the games because it'd still be like the same percentage of play would be required before you know you're out. It'd still be the same. And like this hardly ever happens. People AFKs. Like I thought it was really strange that Sinastro AFK'd. And they can just make rules that you can't play in the tournaments anymore. So like if you got like fined or weren't allowed to play in the tournaments for AFKing, then that'd be a really great way to dissuade that behavior. Like I certainly would never AFK. I mean, I would never AFK in general. I played in a tournament where I played really bad. I placed last in a Riot tournament. I played really bad. I was not a very good player at the time. And I played the whole tournament. I didn't want to, but I played it because it would be BM to not. So if they just installed a rule, almost no one would AFK unless they are just like, you know, don't really care about playing in tournaments in the future. So all they have to do is make a rule where you get in trouble for doing that. That's it. That's the solution. Anyways, any more games and viewers won't be interested. All right, I want to hear his take on this because I like kind of agree with Riot a little bit that it might be difficult, but you know, I think it's worse that we present a product that is just fraudulent. It's just it does not show who the best player is most of the time. I mean, sometimes it does. I think actually, like, you know, Spicy Appy's won this tournament and he actually played really, really, really well. May have been the best player in this tournament. So, but it doesn't always. It really doesn't always. And a lot of good players get eliminated super early, as we already talked about. All right, let's get into it. I understand that TFT needs viewership. I, however, do not understand how the current tournament format is in any way conducive for increasing viewers. Has there actually been any explanation that says that we have that what we have is the best way we can do? There's no way in hell anybody wants to watch a game where half the participants' results have already been decided. True. The games get the whole lobby gets decided too fast. There needs to be serious thought about this. I personally think that TFT is not a game where competitive should be viewed live. Oh, interesting. There is so much decision making that can be analyzed and highlighted that cannot hope to be done in real time. Casters are not going to pick up on everything in the first go. I don't agree. Like, I don't agree. I don't agree. Like when you watch like League of Legends casting, you know, like I'm just gonna, by the way, when I compare it to League in TFT, it's just because I know League esports very well. I've followed it very closely for like 6 years. So like the casters catch like 10% of what's happening, and that doesn't detract from the viewing experience at all. So I don't agree with that at all. Like I was watching Robin's coach stream, but he was playing the main broadcast. I'm hearing Bryce talk about like why well, let's say RamKev is playing Mercs, right? And he's talking about why he's playing Mercs in this spot or something. I don't remember who he was talking about, what he was talking about. I don't think RamKev played Mercs, but he went on this like long point and talked about this, and that's what casting is like when you're doing color commentary. You just talk about one point and inform the viewers on something. Talk about an interesting thing that you can latch on to fill that time and to engage the viewers. You don't have to talk about everything. So like I just don't agree. That's what like people who VOD review and do reanalyze the stuff, that's what those people talk about. Or people who do co-streams, that's what those people talk about. They talk about the small stuff. They can pause, they can do whatever. So I just don't agree. Like live sports is the shit. Like I can barely watch repeats of stuff. I used to be a huge TSM fan whenever Bjergsen played there. I was just a huge Bjergsen fan, and I'd watch all their games. And I've also been a huge Kobe Bryant fan, and I'd watch all of his games. And I could barely watch a rerun. And I would watch every single one of their games, but it was really hard to watch a rerun. Like I just couldn't. It has to be live. So I just hard to disagree. Let me tell you what. Before we start tailoring a format to bring in viewers, instead of doing its best to accurately represent skill level of people playing in the event, why don't we do a better job of advertising events instead? He's okay. All right. Okay, yeah, do a better job advertising. Okay, I don't really understand this sentence. I can't tell if he's saying, let's not find a better way to represent skill. Instead, let's find a better thing. I don't know. I think they need to do both of these things. That might be what he's saying, by the way. I just can't understand this sentence. I don't know why. But I think instead of worrying about viewers right now, I think they need to make sure that the tournament format is one that actually is real, like actually is in the reality of how TFT is played, so that like casters and all the players can actually get invested in tournaments, can actually take it seriously. And if they take it seriously, then we can find out how to make that interesting to viewers. But right now they're trying to figure out how to make storylines and stuff interesting to viewers when there are no storylines and there's nothing to talk about, because none of the players think that the tournaments actually decide who the best players are, because the tournaments are garbage. The best player might get knocked out in day one. The tournaments are trash. So if the tournaments are trash and the players aren't excited about the tournaments, how are you supposed to get fans excited about the tournaments? So yeah, I agree in that. But all right, anyways, cool. All right, why is it that for every TFT event, I constantly hear that people who are genuinely interested in the game have no idea what is happening? True. Why are people constantly coming into my stream to ask what time the event starts? It's almost as if the information is not readily accessible for them. Guys, I play in these tournaments and I can barely find the information. I have to do a Google search and just find it. Like, why is it not just in my face? I follow every single TFT like content creator that I know. I follow all the game devs. I follow tons of Riot people. I'm constantly watching TFT YouTube. I'm constantly watching streams, and I qualify for the tournaments, and I barely know because I have to just look that shit up. It's not like in my face, which like I understand, like, oh, you have to look it up. But the point is like I am constantly consuming TFT content. I am voracious with my consumption of TFT content. And I don't even know when it starts. I don't even know when it starts. I don't even know until like 2 days before. I don't even know what to get when I win half the time. Like, it's just like, dude, what? Anyways, all right, Tournament Realm. Okay, he's about to complain about Tournament Realm. I wonder what he has to say on here. I've only played on Tournament Realm once. The last time I played in a Riot tournament, we did not play on TR. For whatever, I think TR was bugged that weekend. But anyways, all right. Oh, baby, TR. If you thought that the current league client was garbage, wait until you see this sack of shit. Yeah, bugs every time you leave game. Bugs when you try to invite people to lobby. Bugs when you try to play a game of double up. Don't think that I forgot about the double up tournaments. Big shout out to my fellow teammate Goose. Our run as a team in set 6 was definitely short-lived, but it was really fun. I had a great time playing a double up with a player that I basically watched religiously while I was learning the game. The tournament though, absolutely fucking disaster. Oh, the tournament was so bad. Tell me why on the first day of the tournament we cannot even play double up because it hasn't even been implemented in Tournament Realm properly. Tell me why we have to wait for over an hour to then play this archaic 2 versus 2 versus 2 versus 2 bullshit from set 5, or else have to be forced to play double up on a buggy, unplayable patch. If you guys don't know what happened is, and he kind of explained it here a little bit, but what had happened is they played in this double up tournament. It was like heavily like advertised on everyone's stream, not by Riot, you know, heavily advertised on everyone's stream. Everyone was pretty hyped about it. It was right when double up came out. And then we get to tournament day, and I don't know who dropped the ball, but they didn't install they didn't install double up on the client. On the TR client. They didn't install a way to have a lobby of 8 players, because that is not available on the current client. You can't have a lobby of 8 players play double up, I don't believe. You can only have 2 people in your double up lobby. And so they didn't code a way for 8 players to be in the same lobby, and nobody had thought about it until the day of the tournament. So they ended up having to play half of the tournament. And so the other thing you could do is you could just play double up on the old patch. And that I can't remember exactly the patch, but the patch was trash. It was garbage. No one wanted to play it. And so they had to play this 2v2 bullshit. And then they had to play and then the next day they got to play real double up or something like that. Just hilarious. Anyways, Riot Games has made it blatantly clear that they do not give a shit about competitive TFT. Do not blame the TFT team because this is something that is completely out of their control. Yeah, I agree. Like, I think it's kind of crazy that they dropped the ball that hard right there, and it was just like kind of like, okay, this happened. Like, that is kind of crazy that happened. That they just showed up to the tournament and can't play. I remember this. I was hyped to watch the tournament. They just showed up and couldn't play because they just didn't enable it on the TR. They just no one thought about it. No one enabled it. Anyways, they do so much to make this game great. Agree. I just want there to be something real to showcase all the work that they put into it. Someone out there has to be interested and passionate about actually creating an environment where competitive TFT can thrive. I would support them wholeheartedly. Riot, on the other hand, they've completely lost my trust. You know what? Agree. Riot Tournament Organization. Hey, I agree with you, RamKev. I'm on your side, bud. Conclusion, I hope people reading this get offended at what I'm saying. I hope people who are working on tournaments right now read this and try to prove this arrogant, whiny TFT player wrong, because if there is no substantive, I know what word he's saying, substantive, like substantiate. I just can't say this word, substantive. Change soon. I can't, I'm just caught on the word. And I mean by next set, then whatever we currently have will continue to be a joke and not worth any of my effort. I'm sure there are things that I missed. I had to get my thoughts down real quick so that I could get this out as soon as possible. Guys, I agree with this sentence right here. I think TFT esports is right. Honestly, nobody thinks it's ever going to be big, by the way, guys. But it could be like legitimate and have its own little niche and all the good stuff. But it is really a joke right now, and I think it's really at a tipping point that it might have a stain on it forever as being a fucking joke. We are really close to that, and yeah, I think really soon it needs to be fixed. I hard agree. I hope set 7 it's fixed. I really hope in set 7, the actual tournaments that you play in actually feel skillful. Anyways, all right, I'm done with competitive TFT for the rest of set 6. Me too. I really wanted to care. I really wanted competitive this set to be something that I could look forward to and enjoy, but it's not, and I'm genuinely afraid it might never be. I will not be entering Challenger Series. I will not push for Snapshot. I will not play in regional finals. Yeah, he already said this ahead of time. If he had qualified in the tournament, he may have qualified in points. I'm not sure. That he's just straight up not going to play in the finals. He's done with competitive TFT because it's a joke. I will not be entering any tournaments until there is transparent, irrefutable evidence that there's an effort has been made to improve and change so that these tournaments to actually take into account the player experience. I do not want to have my abilities as a player defined by for fun events, which for all I'm aware of are the only events that are currently available, or I'll move to China. At least they have a good money over there. Yo, I will say it does feel really bad to lose in a tournament when you have like expectations to do well. That tournament that I last placed in, I did not expect to do well, but I certainly did not want to last place. That felt really fucking bad. Now, I actually played bad in that tournament. But I'm sure there's players in there who didn't play bad and placed very poorly. I played in a open qualifier one time when I was challenger, and my friend who was gold outplaced me. Think about that. We played two games. That's an open qualifier to qualify for a Riot official tournament. 2 games. Outplaced by a gold player. Anyways. Yeah, you feel fucking bad when that happens. Like, I was like, in your mind, like the tournament format's garbage and it doesn't show who's the best player. In your mind, that. But in your, it still feels fucking bad. In that tournament, I had real lobbies. My lobby that I got seated in the first game somehow was all Challenger and GM, which was my current lobbies. My friend who was gold got seated in a full gold lobby. How does that happen? Why is my lobby not full of like gold and platinum players? Because there's only a few Challenger players in the tournament. Why are all the few Challenger players in the same lobby? How does that happen? They just randomized it. And I got grouped with only Grandmaster and Challenger players. It was like, what? Anyways. Crazy. I'll still be streaming and looking forward to having no pressure and just having fun with the game. I was and never have been the biggest TFT streamer. So for the longest time, it felt like if I didn't do well in these events without competitive TFT, I would just be nothing. I'm over that. I'm in my own mind, I'm the best TFT player out there, and that's all that matters. True. Yeah, those guys that have their whole brand and their whole, and I don't think RamKev is exactly that. I think RamKev has a great opportunity to be a content creator. I think he's very charismatic. I think he's very funny. I love watching his stream, actually. I love his energy. And I think if he just put more effort into learning how to do content creation, he'd be a fantastic content creator and could make videos and all the good stuff. And now, you know, I'm still learning stuff like that, but I'm, you know, I've taken a lot of time learning stuff. But he's doing TFT, like, I think he's in a master's program right now. So it's not like the only thing he's doing. So I totally get why he's not investing more time into that stuff. But, you know, if he plays TFT for the long time, I think he could have a fantastic future as a content creator and just play in tournaments when he wants to. That's what I do. I mean, I'm not in that caliber of player as RamKev. Like, I'm not. There's a difference between like low and mid challenger and high challenger. There certainly is. And it's just about what you value. I could, and this sounds like ego, but I could certainly be top 10 challenger if I wanted to. Like, if I just put in that amount of effort. I simply am not willing to do that. And obviously, it's easy to say that when you haven't done that, but I know exactly what I need to do. I need to play several hours a day. I need to neglect a few things in my life, and yeah, and just being top 10 at TFT is just not important to me personally, because I'm more interested in being in shape, being healthy. More interested in making the people I care and love about happy. I'm more interested in making money to provide for my family. I'm more interested in making videos and doing stuff like that. So it's just not interesting to me. And it seems like what RamKev is coming to right here is maybe he needs to find better ways to align his interest in TFT and his time, you know, just align that better, because it seems like he likes streaming. You know, a lot of time he gets upset about the game and streaming because of the tournaments and because of the stuff. He feels a lot of pressure to do well. And I think maybe a change of mindset and taking a break from competitive until they fix it could be great for him, and he could reevaluate what he wants from TFT. So I think that could be fantastic for him. And just synopsis my thoughts on here. I agree. Almost everything he said. I think there was like one point that I was just like, you know, I don't really buy what he's talking about, and I like, or I like soft agree, but I agree with like 90% of the stuff, guys. Tournaments are garbage and they need to be changed. And TFT esports is just a joke. And let me be clear, I have loads of fun playing in tournaments. I actually really enjoy playing in them. I love the dopamine high. I love the adrenaline I get. But I know the formats are garbage, and I try to disconnect myself from the results because of how bad the format is. But it does feel bad to play, and you know, it's fun, but it does feel bad when you fucking lose, and it doesn't feel as good when you get through and you know, just like maybe you high rolled one of those games. Like it just feels bad. Anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for the video. I appreciate you. If you guys want more of me, I stream at twitch.tv/tradingtft. I stream about 4 days a week. And I post every day at twitter.com/tradingtft. If you guys want more of me there, you guys can follow me there. And if you like this video, please like the video. It helps me out so much. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Very interesting discussion here we got here. All right, appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a good day, good night, and wherever you are, I just hope you're doing well. See you guys. Bye.